Welcome everyone. Tuesday Night Live. I just got in from basketball practice, dropping the girls off, running to the store. But hey, I think we got a great topic. I think we have a fantastic topic to talk about here tonight. And we need deer hunters, we need Kentuckians, we need out of staters, non residents to hop in here and have this discussion with us. Kentucky just raised the price of deer hunting for out of staters. And we want to know what you think about it. So, just waiting on my favorite people in the world, my deer camp, turkey camp, deer hunting, turkey hunting, trapping folks, best friends to get in here and talk to us. So, just waiting on Michael to get here. Jimmy Carroll's here. Listen, if you're here, there's 9 of us here right now. If you're here, we don't just want you watching. We want you commenting. We want you liking. We want you sharing. We want you to be part of our community that we get together every Tuesday night. Sometimes it's just nonsense. Sometimes it's talking about hunting. Sometimes the Kentucky basketball's game on. Sometimes I'm coming in on 2 wheels, sneaking in at 9 o'clock. But we want you here. We want you talking to us. Don't be lurking. Don't be watching from afar. Turn the TV on mute, turn us up, and join the conversation. So share it, like it, comment it, let your friends know. Deer hunting's expensive, man. Deer hunting is expensive. It's getting more expensive. It's becoming I've heard this week talking about license prices going up, that it's becoming a rich man sport. Like golf, like tennis. Man, but deer hunting, we've been doing this for 10,000 years, right? So let's talk about it. Let's see who's here. Of course, Jimmy's here. Joe is here. Jeremy, working nights this week. My good buddy Michael is here. Josh Wilson. Jimmy shared it. Listen, be like Jimmy. Be a friend. Tell a friend that we're on. My brother is supposed to be sharing it. He just FaceTimed me. I text Josh. He shares it every week. And he gets it out there for everyone. I just called. He was like, hey, bro, can you share? He immediately FaceTimes me with his daughter in his arms. He's like, I don't know, man. Just got her out of the bath. Her mom's not feeling good. She's a little cranky. I don't know if he meant the mom or the daughter. Probably both. Love both, but probably both. And so I'm like, okay, bro, just do what you can. But you can take 30 seconds, right? Lay her down, take 30 seconds, share it, and look at him.
There he is.
My guy. You know what we decided? I want to talk to. Let's pause on the deer hunting, because we just had this conversation, Mike, Josh, and I yesterday. In the comments, did you guys see the fight? Now, look, we have some Canadians that get on here, and we love you. We love you. We're sorry to say this. That's how they say sorry. They say sorry.
I got
that
you.
joke. Steve Tardif. He came all the way from Canada, French Canadian, came all the way to Canada, the turkey camp last year. Cool guy, love him. We had I can't remember the woman's name that used to be on the show, and she
came on often.
Yeah, she would send us pictures of her hunting adventures in Canada. We love our Canadian friends, but we took it to them in hockey the other day. First 9 seconds of the game, we started 3 fights. That has inspired me and Josh to become hockey fans. So we're going to become fans of the Nashville Predators. Now, we don't have many hockey fans in Kentucky, but just seeing the patriotism, somebody tagged Steve in this. Look, Steve knows, man, it was belt to behind, right? Belt to behind in that hockey game. We took it to them. And so we are now hockey fans. The patriotism from the U.S. hockey team has inspired us, right? Jimmy says FAFO. You can figure that one out. Something tickling my neck. But it inspired us. The toughness, the grit, the willing to punch another man in the face. Man, I'm all about it. I love it.
It was amazing, man. It was
we would have a lot less a-holes and soft men if we just if there was the threat of being punched in the face every now and then, right? We would treat each other a little better. We would treat each other a little better if at any time you could just get punched in the face like a hockey game.
Yeah, I
Right.
think there's a lot to learn in that, and specifically
Great.
with just there was a lot of disrespect there early on. Those guys said, okay, if that's going to rain down on it, then let's
Hey, they
kick this thing
booed.
off.
Well, they had already determined that they were going to start one fight or maybe two before that even happened. And then the fans, the Canadians, booed. Should we say Canada or we should say the 51st state, right? Maybe we should just call it the 51st state. But they booed the national anthem. They booed during it. And they're like, well, we're not booing you. We're booing your president. Hey, what, 70-some million people voted for him. Those hockey guys voted for him. Not to get political, maybe. Boo the national anthem, belt to behind. It was great. It was great. Hope you guys enjoyed it. The other big topic this week, Mike, is Kentucky raised the prices for out-of-state hunters. So I've been looking through the comments here. If you are an out-of-state hunter, Gary Kite is probably the only one I've seen so far. Gary Kite, great American, by the way. Right, great American Gary Kite. Great Tennessean.
Yes,
he's going to be paying, if when he wants to come up here to hunt, he's going to be paying a little extra, about $50 more this year. Y'all think that's too much, not enough? We're going to talk about it. Yes, Mark Lilly loved the fighting. We did too. Josh says sometimes little brother needs his butt whipped. Josh is my little brother, so that's true.
He knows. You know? He knows.
He knows. Sometimes, look, we used to play football in the living room. I'd have to punish him. Let me tell you what Josh and I used to do. We used to play football, but, he's 6 years younger, so I had to take it easy. But then we would play football on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And so here's the rule. Because, he was young, he would cry and whine, let me play, let me have a turn. So I'd let him play. We'd play each other. So back then it was like early 2000s. I'd be like Miami Hurricanes, right? The best team. I would take a 35-0 lead over Josh. And then you know what we'd do? We would switch teams. And then I would tie it up 35-35. And then we would switch back. And I would go up. And we just did that the whole game. So I was just like, it was fun. That's what we used to do.
That is fun.
That's what you do to little brother. That's what you do to little brother. So anyway, Gary says, go Knoxville Ice Bears. That's a pretty cool name for a hockey team.
That is a cool name.
Pretty cool name.
Let's see. I wonder if that team, that's not a professional team. It's probably like semi-pro or minor leagues. It's kind of like the Cyclones up here in Cincinnati.
Jeremy says some people he knows needs that belt to behind daily. True. Scott Butler's here. Scott Butler, anytime we see Scott, we're so glad to have him. Thank you, Scott. We love you. Joe says, I believe in fighting, but I don't want to lose a fight.
No.
Have you ever lost a fight?
No. I've never
really been in a real fight. Like where I've been in lots of we used to box, we used to wrestle, never been the fight where we were trying to hurt each other angry. I'm not opposed to it like Joe. Sometimes you just need, some guys just need to carry a good butt whipping.
Yeah, I agree.
I could think of 4 or 5 off the top of my head I could just give one to. Some of them, they used to watch the show. I could just give one to right now if they felt froggy, Mike. I could just give it to them right now. I'm getting fired up right here. What did I say? In the infamous words of Jim Ross. Now I know Mike loves a good Jim Ross commentary.
Absolutely,
he's a slobber knocker. How much of a raise? So Kentucky raised prices for out-of-state hunters around $50. I think it's now going to be $395 if you want a deer hunt. If you want to add your turkey tag on there, I'm not sure how much that is. It increased as well. Gary says he understands the price hike. Ouch. So we'll talk about it. Chris is here. Joe says YouTube is so much further ahead of Facebook broadcasting the show. Yeah, you can watch on YouTube. You can watch on Facebook. You can watch on Eastern Outdoors. You can watch on my personal page, which I'm glad Joe said that because I was going to because sometimes people are over there watching and I forget. Uh-oh. Am I blurry? Are we blurry?
No, I don't see that you're blurry.
Do you guys see us blurry? It was blurry over there, but it may just be on my side. Anyway. Oh, yeah, here's what Chris said. PK will take you on. So if you remember at deer camp, PK and I PK and I had a little tussle. I'll be honest. This was October. Was it last year? No, it was 2023.
2023. Yep.
Guys, I'm not kidding. So PK is in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, PK is one of my best friends. I love him. Not got to talk to him much lately. We've been busy. You know, ever since deer season's ended, I've been crazy busy with basketball and other things, good things. But 2023, October 2023, PK and I we had a little tussle at deer camp. He's not a WWF. He's a MMA fighter, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm much larger than him, but he's strong. And he got me in an arm bar, which is where he put his legs over my chest. He straightened my arm out until my elbow was like hyperextended. He didn't like fully all his strength on it because he would have probably torn my ligaments. But guys, he got me pretty good. I rolled out of it. We, ended it. Chris is right. Now, Chris says I cried about my shoulder for weeks. No, my elbow literally was sore for a year and a half. It's not anymore. Actually, it's the first time I can remember it not being sore. He did a number on me, but it was fun.
Oh boy.
Not
you took
it.
it.
I don't know what was going on. So, did resident license go up? It did not. No. So let's talk about this. So if you look, here's the goal of every hunter. You can say you're a meat hunter. You can say I'm just out here to shoot does. You can say whatever you want. But every hunter, if given the opportunity, would love to shoot a big buck. Do you agree with that, Mike?
I agree with that.
I mean, you just poll the random hunter, pull him off the street, pull him off his boat or out of the blind or whatever, and he's going to say, and you give him an option. Hey, you're going to shoot this 6-pointer. You're going to shoot this 12-pointer. He's going to choose the 12-pointer, right? He just is. So that's the goal. Now, when you measure hunting by size of deer killed, Kentucky is consistently top 4 in Boone and Crockett measurements. You've got Wisconsin, you've got Iowa, you've got Ohio, you've got Kentucky. Am I leaving any out? Are those the
Illinois?
4?
Illinois, are they in there?
I think they're below us. Why don't you guys look this? Look, if you're on your phone on the computer, why don't you Google Boone and Crockett rankings? Mike, let them do it. Let them do it, Mike.
Gotcha. I won't say anything.
Let them put it in the comments. Boone and Crockett rankings 2024, 2023. See who the top 4 or 5 is. We're always in the top 5. So if that's the case, Kentucky is always in the top 5. Then our prices for out-of-state hunters needs to compare to the others in the top 5. I think us and Ohio have always been relatively close to each other. Indiana is about $500 for a non-resident. We're still not close to that yet. Kansas is expensive, and you have to be drawn to hunt there. Iowa is expensive. You have to be drawn to hunt there. I don't know about Wisconsin. Can somebody Google how much it is to hunt in Wisconsin? Let's see. Let's throw it out. We need to know how much is it to hunt in Wisconsin? How much is it to hunt in Iowa? For non-residents, how much is it to hunt in Ohio, Illinois, Kansas? Those are like our biggest competition. WO says if you want to harvest a buck in Doe, Indiana, it's $530, and that's with a bow. I don't know if he left out, and that's bow. I don't know if that's gun or bow. Go ahead.
I was going to say in Iowa, I know that it's like probably like 600 or 650 for non-resident, and it's also a draw, so it's really difficult.
And it's a draw. Here's what I've been told: if you put in for Iowa throughout your lifetime, you're going to get drawn like 3 to 4 times.
Yeah,
because it's a point system. So we don't have a draw, which I don't think Kentucky should have a draw, right? 530 for Indiana. Some people are going to say just based on size, Indiana is a better state. But if you base it on opportunity, Kentucky is a better state. We have more deer, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. But Kentucky typically ranks ahead of Indiana if you just look at the rankings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Illinois, $500. We're right up there. Illinois is known for big bucks, right? Now, this is an appropriate comparison here. Take Mississippi. You get 3 buck tags, and it's $250. Now, that's a pretty good deal. You're not going to kill. You're not going to see the quality of bucks sit for sit in Mississippi that you do in Kentucky. Everyone would agree with that. Can you go to Mississippi and kill a bigger buck in Mississippi than you can in Kentucky? Absolutely. But sit for sit, over a long period of time, you're going to have better opportunities in Kentucky. So Kentucky needs to reflect that in our out-of-state prices. And I think we're getting there. $405, I think Gary said. Let's go back and look. Gary said, I think if you buy licensed deer tag and turkey tag, it's $405. Still feels a little short for me. As Kentuckians, most of you are Kentuckians, 85%, 90% of you are Kentuckians, $405 for a licensed deer turkey tag. Just say, do you think it should be more? Three choices here. More, less, or just right? Put that in the comments. You're Kentuckian. What is your perspective? Should it be more than that? Should it be less than that? Or is it just right? For me personally, I think that's still a little cheap to come to. If you combine those two, Mike, if you combine turkey and deer, it's hard to beat our opportunity to kill those animals.
I would agree with that.
Combine them, we may be the best opportunity in the Midwest and Southeast for those two animals combined.
Yeah, it's really hard to beat, honestly. Even the new prices, I like the hunting license for non-resident now have changed to $160. That's the license, and then the deer permits are $235, and the turkey permits are $110.
Yeah. So look, one of our best friends, one of my best friends alive.
There he is.
Hurley Combs. Now he wrote so much you can. I'm like Wilson from Home Improvement. But Hurley says, how are you guys? Finally get to watch my favorite guys. Listen, Hurley, I was over in Pike County. He let me stay at his rental house the other day. Spick and span, so nice. Right on the river. That river's really high right now.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
Just a great guy. He says, I personally don't have an issue with the out-of-state license upcharge. However, the increase on guide. Oh, this is where we're going to get. We're going to get talking about, because there are people blaming guides and outfitters for price increases for leasing up all the land. So it's a good perspective to have Hurley in here. The increase on guide outfitters is ridiculously high. That's for fishing and hunting guides. Unfortunately, for overhead costs, it will hurt sportsmen and women in the state and out of state. The cost will unfortunately be passed on. For example, guide license have been $150, and if passed, will cost as much as $500 to $3,000. Now, he wrote a lot, and all of it didn't show up. Mike, maybe you can go to the page and pull up that comment and we can read the rest of it.
Yeah.
Look, here at Eastern Outdoors, we're friends with a lot of guides and a lot of outfitters. We support them 100%. Because here's the thing. Hurley's an elk guide. You get an elk tag, your chances of killing an elk on your own, not zero. You can do it. A lot less than if you hire a guide. We always suggest, if you can afford it and if it makes sense, it doesn't always make sense, and that's okay. You don't have to. It's not a requirement. But if you can afford it, and especially if you're not used to the area, especially if you're a new hunter, especially if so many factors, right? But if you can afford it, go ahead and pay for the guide. Go ahead and pay for the outfitter. If you can't, you can't. That's fine. Give it your best. Give it HELL. So we support it. Personally, our elk hunting wouldn't be what it was without the publicity of the guides, because we just wouldn't kill as many. Anyway, there's a lot of deer hunting guides, deer outfitters in Kentucky. So many I can't even name. And I think some of them have put a sour taste in people's mouths. But for out-of-state hunters, you want to come to Kentucky, kill a big deer, these guys can do it. I can't hate on somebody doing that. If you got the money and the time to pay somebody, put you on a big deer, go for it. Of course, me, there's still plenty of them out there, right? So anyway, we support that. But I want to hear everybody's comments. If all these Facebook pages like yours will stop sharing all these big bucks, not everyone want to come here. We ain't going to stop, Mark. You can say it, Mark. Mark, if you stop posting pictures of your kids killing big bucks, then you know what? We wouldn't share them. You stop posting them, Mark, and we won't share them. How about that? Just keep them to yourself. Keep them up there in Kenton County. Where? I don't know where you live.
Grant County.
Jim said, I would say just right for now, then slight increase. So Jim says $405 is just right. Joe says he would do $550. See, here's the thing. I think Jimmy's right. We did like a $50 increase. You can't just immediately do a $150 increase.
Right.
You can't just do that.
No.
Should that be the goal? Should Joe's $550 be the goal? Eventually. Probably. You can't do that immediately, though. Gosh, you're going to make a lot of people mad.
Oh, you would. You would. And the big point to that is I'm pretty sure it's been since 2014 since they've increased.
It's been a while.
Non-resident. I'm almost positive I read that it was 2014 since there was the last major change like this for non-resident hunters. So, I mean, that is a significant amount of time. And if you think back, it's 2005, 2014, even the financial state of our state was different back then. Yeah. So, I mean, it's changed a ton, and it certainly needed to go up. That's for sure.
And, Arian makes a good point. If you're coming to Kentucky one time to hunt one weekend, it may not seem worth it. But if you're making multiple trips, you come here early bow season, you come here maybe like that late October, first week of November to get another archery hunt in, you come back for gun season, it's worth it. It's worth it. And if you kill the buck that you're after, it's worth it, right? So I think that's a good point. Josh says it's definitely fair. Kentucky is a top 5 boone and crockett per square mile in comparison to all other states. Oh, now here is a New Yorker. This is what I want to hear. Harry, we have missed you. Harry used to be here every Tuesday, right? We used to talk about fishing. We used to talk about he'd come down here and hunt. We miss you, Harry. Hopefully you can keep coming back. He said there are great bucks and tons of public all over New York, and a non-resident can get all the tags and seasons for $200.
Wow, that's amazing.
Easy camping regs on State Forest and Forest Preserve. Some really nice bucks in the antler restriction zone of the Catskills if you want to be a billy goat, which means if you're climbing that mountain, right? I would love that. There aren't nearly as many people going to New York to hunt as there are Kentucky.
Right. And I guess that's where you would, the reflection is there. We're seeing a reflection right there of that being a case. But
New York, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I hear it's wonderful.
I'm taking Harry's word for it. I know upstate New York is not – you think New York, you think Manhattan. You think New York City. You think Statue of Liberty and, all that. But that's a little bitty part of New York.
Mm-hmm.
From Manhattan to Buffalo up to wherever,
right?
It's very rural. There's a lot of rural areas.
I've heard I've heard upstate's beautiful. I've heard it's amazing. So
yeah,
that sounds like a cool opportunity.
With my job, I have hired trucks that deliver apples and onions to New York, and they go to these rural areas and deliver them. And it's, I see pictures of it. It's beautiful. You just don't have people flocking to New York to deer hunt like you do Kentucky. Now, here's an advantage Kentucky has too. If you look at a map, Kentucky is like a 6-hour drive to so many states.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can leave my house and in 6 hours, I can be in Canada. I can leave my house in 6 hours. I can be sitting on Lake St. Clair outside of Detroit catching hundreds of smallmouth. I can leave my house in 6 hours and be in Georgia. I can be in North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi. I mean, you can be everywhere. Ohio, Missouri, Tennessee, Illinois, Indiana. So Kentucky's in a centrally located state where we just draw a lot of hunters. So that's another thing. Let's see. Anyone have a full – why is it not showing up? Full fan I can get for my pretty boy decoy. We'll have to talk about that later, Joe. We won't forget about you. If it's for turkey and deer both, I think $450 is fitting. $325 for deer. Okay. $450 seems in the right spot, right neighborhood for me instead of $405. Yeah. Michael Powers says, hey, John, I've been working with a boy named Dylan Dixon. He said you're the best basketball coach he's ever had. Let me tell you something. That kid, Dylan Dixon, hit. Still, I've coached a lot of sports and athletes. Dylan Dixon single-handedly made the greatest shot in my coaching career. I'll tell you this real quick. All right, tell you quick story time. Dylan Dixon, 5th grader. I was his teacher as well. He was our best player, and he wasn't playing well, and I benched him. The next game, his mom is sitting on the front row waving her keys, saying, let's go to the house. She liked me, but she was mad at me for benching her baby boy, right? So she's like, let's go to the house. Come on. I didn't give in. He started playing better. We got beat. Reed Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
His team, now this was a year before he got there, thank God. His team, his school beat us 40-8 in the regular season. We played them in the tournament, and we beat them 26-25 because I drew up a play, and Dylan Dixon hit the game-winning shot right as the time went out, or right before the time went out. Still, I've coached Division I athletes. I've coached teams that were top 10 in the state in high school football. That guy right there, Dylan Dixon, the number one sports memory of my life. It was so awesome. Fun. Anyway, tell Dylan I love him. And he's a great hunter, by the way. Let's see. It makes sense to me. Residents who buy sportsmen's every year versus out-of-state hunter comes 3 to 4 years will spend the same amount. How challenging is it to take hunting rifle into New York? See, that's what somebody was telling me about hunting in Illinois. Like, the gun laws suck there for the whole state, but it's just because of Chicago. I don't know. Philip says, now I'm in the right track. Oh, you must have been over on my personal page, Phil. That's okay, brother. I got you. We got you here. I need to keep an eye on that, Mike, so we know who is over there commenting. I can't see. There we go. Hold on.
We had a good comment up here. Out-of-state Ben Caudell, out-of-state hunter from Michigan, was talking about having property in Kentucky. So he said, I'm an out-of-stater from Michigan. After 3 seasons of turkey and deer, I bought property in Kentucky after my 8th season. I couldn't imagine not hunting down there. I believe the price is reasonable, and I wouldn't be scared to pay more. And I think that's an interesting comment, specifically with somebody that took the leap to buy property in this area.
And so here's another question, and I want to know, if you own property here, should you have to pay the non-resident price? I know I think that's why they use the word non-resident,
right,
and not out-of-state hunter, because you can be, if you're a non-resident, then you don't live here, so you're not paying taxes into the state. You're not doing that, but he's paying property taxes.
Yeah, I've seen a few people bring that up. Yeah, I'm
really on the fence, because if I own property in Tennessee and I was paying property taxes to the Tennessee government, going to help their education system, their police force, whatever the property taxes are going for, and then they're like, well, we know you pay for your property and you pay taxes on it, but we're still going to charge you extra to come hunt. I'm not happy about it. Now, Ben bought the property knowing he's going to pay out-of-state prices. So he's cool with it. And he has a great perspective here. And Ben, we appreciate that. And Ben, we're so glad that you're here. We're so glad you bought property. Anytime you decide not to come hunt, we can take care of it for you. No, I'm just kidding. I hate people like that. I shouldn't do that. But I was joking. We want out-of-state hunters. We're just saying, you know what? Let's bring in some more revenue from them, right? Let's see. Philip says Indiana increased its tag 3 years ago and did a $200 raise. That is crazy.
That's too much.
200. Let's see. What will the reflection be now that Pope and Young and Buckmaster have changed the scoring system? Is that due to a money grab? Also, other states wanting a slice of that pie or interest. Kentucky may go down, or will Kentucky move up? I honestly don't. I don't know. I've really not read into the scoring system. I know Pope and Young decreased the minimum requirement, right?
Yep.
I don't know what Buckmaster's done. Can someone explain that in the comments, what they have done? Mike, do you know?
I've not seen the changes in Buckmasters, but I have seen, in fact, I think I posted it on Eastern Outdoors Media Facebook page. We posted about it. talking about the non-typical changes that Pope and Young has made. They've dropped down the number of points that's required, and also I believe they've also dropped down the score from like 150, 155 to like 145, I think. So they've kind of changed a little bit with non-typical deer.
The thing with the price tags here in Kentucky, you can now bow hunt or gun hunt at that one price. That's not in the case. So that was another thing I was going to bring up, is that Kentucky's increase is not as drastic as other states because they're still allowing you to hunt all weapons. You can still hunt archery, crossbow, muzzleloader, modern gun, in the appropriate season. So if we said, look, your archery tag is going to be if you do archery and do the package, it's $405. If you also want to include gun season, it's $455. I'm on board with that.
I would have to argue Indiana's our problem, man. If they increase their prices $200, they're not even in the top 10. Boone and Crockett, and if they've raised their prices that much, and they're not even in the top 10.
But if you talk to people that hunt Indiana, they rave about how good it is.
They do, yeah. I've heard that.
I mean, the rankings, the Boone and Crockett rankings aren't everything, right?
No,
it's just one indicator of how good the quality of deer being killed is. So Bo says property taxes do not help. I understand that property taxes don't help. Why am I getting that mixed up? Yeah, property taxes don't go toward fish and wildlife at all. I'm just saying, should paying those property taxes into your state government qualify you as a partial resident? I know you got to live in a state, I guess, 6 months to qualify. I'm not sure. I just see the case. I'm not saying they should have a residence license, and there's probably not a whole lot of cases like that. I just understand their perspective and their argument, right? Like, I own property there. I pay property taxes. I can literally come live there anytime I want because it's my property. I think they have an argument. I just got a message for somebody. Oh, Harry sent me some pictures. I'll have to get back there, Harry. I'll look at it for sure. Let's see. Trying to get down here. Virgil says Tennessee non-resident back in 04 was 160 when I hunted. I think it's 360 now. 360 sounds about right. I was thinking about 330, Virgil, but 360 is probably right. Says, hey, sorry, I missed the. Hey, you're just halfway here, man. Halfway here. Philip says Indiana bundle tag for 3 deer hunting any season, $575.
Wow.
I tell you, I don't know.
That's
Paul says, me, myself, if you buy property in Kentucky, you should have to buy out-state license hunt. I agree. I don't think it should be changed. Right? I'm just saying I understand the argument. Hurley says, good for Dale Weddle. I don't know. I guess the new changes, are they good for Dale Weddle? Maybe Dale's putting a little more money in his pocket. I don't know. Maybe he'll be measuring more deer.
Well, actually, if Pope and Young had, so I think maybe Hurley's is pointing out that because of the way Buckmasters is, they're a little bit more.
Oh no, Hurley's saying good question for Dale Weddle.
It is a good question
for Dale Weddle. It is a good question. I thought he was saying, hey, this is going to be good for Dale Weddle. I was like, yeah, maybe make a few dollars. I don't know. I'm all for people making money.
I could see it being more competitive with Buckmasters, though, if Pope and Young is lowering kind of like how they deduct the points, because obviously Buckmasters takes it to the where they don't deduct as much as Pope and Young does. So if Pope and Young's bringing their way down as far as like not deducting as much or opening up for deer that are 145 inches or not meeting the 150 or more like they used to, now that changes the game a little bit.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be a big deal. I don't think.
No, listen. Everybody wants their deer scored, so I don't think it's going to affect a whole lot. Fact is, I think it's going to encourage more people to do that, to get their deer scored. So I think that'll be cool.
Doyo says 7 years ago, I bought an Indiana bow tag, 1 deer, either sex. That same tag this year, $265.
Wow,
that's wild. I don't know. Harry says, didn't the juries mess up the resident property licenses in the Midwest? I don't know. I don't know either. I don't really know much about them.
I don't know. I do
know that, I saw something I don't know what guy it was. This was on TikTok. This has been a while back, a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, 2 months. Heck, I don't know. Everything's a blur. He's talking about this feller. They're talking about two guys. One of them was Josh Bomar. Now, I'm not a hater of Josh Bomar. We've posted about him before and some of his allegations, his poaching, the Lacey Act, all this. And, I even commented when he came out after all that was settled and they had admitted to some things, or they had, I guess, kind of taken a deal. And he was like, this is what happened. This is what's not true. And I even commented on one of his videos and like, I'm glad you posted this video because I thought you were just guilty. And he replied and was like, that's fair. I'm glad we can finally talk about it, right? Because you can only go by what you hear. So I don't have a problem with Josh Bomar. I think he's incredible at archery. And he has some good archery products. But it was him and another guy, and I can't think of his name, but these are guys that kill 200-plus inch deer. And if you guys know this guy's name, he has apparently the record for the most 200-inch plus deer killed. But this guy was saying, here's what these guys like Josh Bomar and this other fella do. Not hating against it at all. Not hating against it at all. But they have a large network of people who, when they hear of someone having a 200-inch buck or more on their property, right? That word, you tell one person, you just told everyone because they're going to share it. You show somebody a picture of a 200-plus inch deer on your property, you show somebody a trail cam picture, you send it to them in a text or a message, or you post it on Facebook, it's going to explode. Everybody loves it. So what this guy does is when he hears about someone having a deer like this on their property, he just calls them. And he basically says, what's your price? And he'll pay between $10,000 and $30,000 to come and kill that deer. Now, they said that, apparently this guy, I can't think of his name. If he doesn't kill the deer, they keep the money, whatever. But most of the time he kills the deer, right? And he will pay $10,000 to $30,000, and he's killed like tens of these. Like I won't say hundreds, but I want to say like over 20. But they also bring him in a lot of money from the publicity and the tours and the deer shows and all this. So, going back to the question, I think we asked in the opening statement of the post. I mean, is deer hunting just becoming is it becoming just a rich person's, if you want to be at the top of it? Now, I don't think it was Lee Ellis. Lee Ellis is the urban hunting guy. What's it called? Seek One, Lee Ellis. Yeah. It wasn't. This was an older guy who's been doing this for years. But is hunting just getting to a point to where if you want to be at the top of the game, it's really not about your skill set. It's about how much money you got. Is that a fair question?
I think
if you want to be elite, if you want to be an elite deer hunter, like at the very top, like you want to be known, are the best deer hunters the most known deer hunters? Probably not.
No, I'd say they're probably still not. And I think it's getting to the point where, if you're wanting notoriety and you're after notoriety and you want to be known, like you said, as the premier hunter, I think, you're probably doing that. You're probably spending as much money as you can, and you're probably posting your, 200-inch deer and showing everybody and their brother that you're this or that, which, I personally believe that gets away from what hunting is all about. I also think it sends a false narrative. I think it paints a very poor picture of hunters. And I don't know, you can disagree with me. That's totally cool. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with that. I think it gets,
disagree with it.
When we start to do that, it starts to get a little sporty. You know what I mean? It starts to get a little, all I care about is monster bucks and my hunting prowess. And I just don't think that's the message. I really don't.
Well, Eddie Endicott, he's commenting over on my personal page, he said hunting is becoming a rich person sport just like fishing. Fishing has really gotten out of hand. The price of a new bass boat, the price of the equipment that people are putting on their bass boat, just absurd. Just absolutely absurd. I mean, when you're driving an $80,000 truck and $100,000 bass boat that has $10,000 worth of screens on it, it's not even a hobby anymore. Like, it's insane. Fishing has become insane. Hunting, the biggest problem, and Eddie said this, the biggest problem that, I'm not saying this, but that we have heard is that you have out-of-state hunters coming here, paying whatever they have to pay to lease up private land, and it's forcing more hunters to go public. Now, I've never leased property in my life. Hurley will let me come hunt with him sometimes. After all the big deer have been wiped out. Just kidding. But maybe that's an issue. But also, like, you don't have a right to hunt someone's private land. I know, Mike, you said, I think the other day, like, used to, you could just ask your neighbor, hey, can I hunt your farm? They're like, yeah, man, go ahead. Mm-hmm. It doesn't happen anymore, but you never had the right to do that anyway.
No, definitely not.
I'm all for that farmer offsetting some of their costs by letting people to come hunt. You know, like, I'm not against that at all.
No, in today's day and age, everything's kind of money driven and people need money. And it's a way to generate revenue. If you're a farmer and it's an extra way to generate revenue, it's not like
we're all capitalists here.
If somebody's coming in and saying, here's $10,000, can I lease this entire property and not let anyone else hunt? And the next person comes in and says, I can give you 2,000. Well, there you go. There's only one person you're going with there, but it's been a fascinating, the hunting landscape has been a fascinating, I wish there were numbers on it, and there might be, I don't have them in front of me, but I just remember as a kid when I was growing up that I never heard a word about people leasing property ever. And it was just, you would literally, I've told this story before, but there's a farm in Owen County that my family started hunting. They were told by someone else who had property next door that they could hunt everything that they saw on the hillside. Yeah. So they started scouting, and they ended up, running into somebody's property that they were told they could hunt, but it was actually someone else's property. They started hanging stands, and the next day while they're in the stands, I guess the farmer's son came in and saw my grandpa up in the tree. He's like, what the devil are you doing on this property? And, my grandpa was like, well, so-and-so told us we had permission to be here. And that, they said that guy tells people all the time, you're actually on somebody else's property and you're not supposed to be here. Yeah. My grandpa got out of the tree, went back to the farmer, apologized, and told him what happened. And the farmer said, hey, you guys can hunt here if you shoot does, and, you take your does first before the bucks, and they tear up my fences for my cattle. And also, if you see anybody else, run them off my property. If you all help me keep other people off my property, you're more than welcome to hunt. And we've been hunting there for 40 years now. Yeah. So it's just, that's the way it used to be. And it's just not like that anymore.
True. But if somebody would have come by and told that same farmer, like, hey, man, I know you got people hunting here. What if I give you $1,500?
We'd probably get kicked off.
You wouldn't have been hunting there. Yeah. So, right. It's just it's a snowball. Once it happens, it's like, it's kind of like feeding, right? Like if you believe, like, look, I'm not going to hunt over corn. I'm not going to put feeders out. I'm going to do food plots. I'm going to do things natural. I'm not going to do that. But then neighbor on the left puts out feeders. Neighbor on the right puts out feeders. Neighbor across from you puts out feeders. You know what you feel like you got to do? You got to put out feeders. And the same thing with this. Somebody down the road starts paying the farmer for some money, or paying the farmer some money to hunt. Well, mate, you know what? Maybe I need to shore up my land too. Hurley says he likes the new. I've left this comment for 5 minutes. He likes the new changes, no deduction on Buckmaster. So they used to deduct. Heck, I don't know. I've not looked at it in so long. But now Buckmasters, every inch will count.
That's right. Now that he said that, that helped jog my memory. That is what Buckmasters is doing. That's the change that they made. Philip said down here, that's because people are suing people after something. Social inflation. Social inflation is definitely got there plays a very big role in that. You're right.
WO says, and this is one thing I put in the post, it's not just the price of leasing, it's the price of your clothing, it's the price of your gear, it's the price of your equipment, your bow, your arrows. I mean, look, we can harp inflation, but come on, man, hunting gear is it's outrageous. Like, that's one reason, like, when the hunting public came out with that $400 bow from Bear Archery, and that's what they're using to hunt with, and you watch them, I'm just a huge fan of that. Now, look, big meat eater guy, love meat eater. Man, you get on there, some of their stuff is outrageous, right? I like to saddle hunt. Saddles are outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. You don't have to spend it.
True.
Right?
Your choice.
You can buy a used bow. You can buy a used gun. You can buy Walmart camo. And you can go hunt public. And you can maybe you just have a rifle your grandpa passed down to you or your dad passed down to you. You go buy some bullets for it. You go out there. You hunt one weekend. Boom. But if you're like us, if you're like WO, you like to get out there a lot. You like to, upgrade your gear. Sometimes it costs money. You don't have to do it that way, but it's a little more. It's more fun. It's more fun to spend a little money on it, right? More fun. As long as you don't tell your wife, Mike. Now I don't know what Harry's talking about here. He says it's like the bar on a Saturday night when a fine filly walks in. You look at that profile. Look at Harry. He just kind of looks like a ladies' man. I bet Harry, I think he's married. I'm not saying he's a ladies' man now, but I bet Harry was a ladies' man back in the day up there in those New York bars. Philip said you can still do it cheap. Yep. First Light doesn't even hold up nice, he heard. For that price, it's better. I work with a guy I think that bought, he spent like some change on a really nice, I think it was a First Light set for the winter. And he said it was worth every penny. It was either First Light or Sitka. I think it was First Light. And he said he's never been that warm, and it was worth it because he didn't have to worry about being cold. I absolutely despise the cold. I hate being out there and being cold. And Mike and I, we can both attest, we sweat on our way to the stand. It don't matter if it's 50 yards, if it's 50 miles. We sweat. And then when you sweat, you get colder because you're wet. So it's a problem.
It is a problem. It can be a problem if you don't treat it correctly. That's for sure. You got to dry off before you put on some dry clothes before you sit down and hunker down for the 5 or 6 hours or all day or whatever you're doing. That's for sure.
Rob says, I don't care if my hunting gear matches. Scout, stay still, be quiet. You'll kill a deer. Hey, all those fellers coming back from World War II wore that buffalo plaid in their jeans and killed deer, right? I've seen many guys mismatched camo, smoking a cigarette, killing big bucks. You just do it. Philip says my Sitka jacket was crazy expensive, but been worth it. Maybe that's what my buddy has too with Sitka, not First Light. I don't remember. Scott skipped it. Scott says when I croak, if my wife sells my hunting gear for what I told her I paid, somebody getting a steal. That's funny. I've seen that. I've seen that a lot.
I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have to know everything, WO says those guys on TV all push their type of clothing. If you watch their shows, they don't have a hair out of place, 10 degrees out, and they have a regular hat on, ears, have to be freezing. I look like a Kentucky redneck with my old clothes. Listen, if it'll fit in my backpack or on my back or something, I'll walk to the stand in my T-shirt. And then I'll usually take that T-shirt off, dry off, put on another T-shirt, like a base layer T-shirt, long sleeve shirt, hoodie, coat, gloves, full face mask, beanie, hat. Like I if it will fit and it's not an inconvenience, I'm taking it because I get so cold. And I don't care, I don't care what I look like.
Oh yeah, you guys know the guys that I've been around, deer camps and even turkey camps. I'm carrying all kinds of crap. I look like the Pillsbury Doughboy going to the woods.
Michael said he noticed Walmart has the Winchester Longbeard turkey shells on the shelf now, $21.99, a lot cheaper this year than last season. I bought today a pack. They're in my truck, I think. A 5-pack of Browning 410 TSS shells for $40. I bought practice shells, 410 practice shells, for 17, just so the kids can get used to shooting it. But I bought the TSS for 40 for $5. That's $8 a shell. So they better get good shooting those practice shells. I still have some Apex left too. So Joe says no turkey talk tonight. What are you Joe? I just talked about TSS turkey shells.
They're good shells too.
They're good shells. Now here's the thing. I went to Bud's Gun Shop and bought them. I have Apex. They're the same size, same everything, but these are Browning. I think it'll be relatively close.
Hey, speaking of turkey talk, Joe, I just got back. I stopped by the NWTF convention on Friday. My wife and I went down, and actually, they popped up on the screen there. Full Clutch met the guys in their tent down there in the vendor areas of NWTF. Picked up some coffee from them, the Full Strut coffee. I'll tell you what, I posted a little video, a couple videos on our page, and that coffee's awesome. If you drink coffee, check that out. It's good stuff. I've really enjoyed it. My wife enjoys it as well. We've been drinking it every evening, every morning. I've really enjoyed it, and the Full Clutch guys were awesome to us when we stopped by to see them at NWTF. I hope you all had a great time, but just there was a ton of stuff down in NWTF. I tell you what, the crowds, and I don't know if PK's on, but the crowds were insane at NWTF. That place was packed, at least on Friday when I was there. But it was great. Got to see Eddie Salter and Alex Rutledge and the Primos guys, and and I say all those guys. Those are now the older generation of hunting. And
who is the new gen? Are there new turkey hunters?
Well, I mean, I think there was actually. I talked to somebody recently that said, "Man, there was a lot of the YouTubers and the." I think the hunting public.
When I think of YouTubers, though, when I think of the YouTubers, it's deer hunting. I don't think of.
They were all there. There was a lot of all those guys with Aaron was down there, and Zach were there.
Yeah, but they're deer hunters.
They are. I think they are kind of more geared towards the deer hunting, but they were there. But what's cool about it? This is just I mean, our show is a small example of that. But hunting is just, if you look outside of all the fashion stuff and whatnot, it brings a community of people together, and that's just exactly what it does. The YouTubers, the Primos guys, the Drurys, all of them, coming together. Realtree, Bone Collector, they were all there supporting one thing. And it was really cool.
And I gotta say, we had this conversation last week, Mike. I don't think you were here. Were you last week?
No, I was out.
And we talked about how I said, look, guys, go to NWTF, go get your autographs, get your photos. But I ain't standing in line for another grown man. I ain't doing it. And most of the people in here agreed. I ain't standing in line for Michael Waddell. He's just another guy that can shoot better than me. Call turkeys better than me. I don't care. But I saw old PK. PK standing right there, arms around his hunting public guys. I think he met Lee Ellis. I'm like, PK didn't care. He didn't care to stand in line to meet those guys. So I loved it.
No,
Mike's going back to Florida. Michael Power says you're going back to Florida.
Oh, I wish I was. I didn't put in this year. I knew with last year, getting able to do that and kind of fitting that trip in last year, and it was a successful trip. I took off on any travels this year just because of all the stuff going on with the kids and stuff. But that was a wonderful trip. If anybody gets an opportunity to do that, I just highly suggest that. It's awesome, man.
You got it done. Hey, I got one final question before we go. Well, we can get a couple in. If you live in listen, I'm just wondering if I'm going to be working from home or not tomorrow. If you live in Western Kentucky, can we get a snow update? Is it coming down real hard? Is it going to be enough to get me where I can call in and say, hey, man, I'm going to work from home today? Because I'd like to sleep till 8 o'clock tomorrow instead of waking up at 6:30.
Yeah,
so I just want a snow update. Do we have a snow update? Scott Butler says, later, guys. Scott, we love you.
Later, Scott.
Tuesday. Michael says, I'd love to go and listen to the calling competitions. I bet you can learn a lot.
It's phenomenal.
I've not been. This is the second year I didn't get to go just with my job. I started this job I'm in now last February. Right, February 12th is when I started my job last year. and so I didn't get to go. This year, I had the girls. We have basketball on Saturdays. I just, I probably could have went, but didn't. I hope I get to go next year.
Yeah,
I might be coaching basketball next year, but probably not. I hope I get to go because it's fun. It's fun.
It is fun.
And Nashville's great. Nashville's one of the greatest cities.
Yeah, it really is. Michael, the call-in was awesome. We stepped in and was listening to some of the stuff. It's just amazing what guys can do.
It's a lot of fun
with the call. It really is. It's a good time. If you ever get a chance to go, for sure, jump into one of those conference rooms and just listen because it's really cool.
Yeah. WO says it is pouring the snow in Davis County. Now, look, you look at that and you say Davies County. That's what I always say. People from there don't call it Davies. It's Davis. Ben Caudle says, good luck to all this season. Have a good night, fellas. Ben, we appreciate you, brother. Be here next Tuesday. Rob says, be safe. Hey, real quick before y'all go, Turkey Camp. You can find it on our page, Turkey Camp. Sign up. April 11th, 12th, 13th, Twin Knobs Campground, Daniel Boone National Forest, tens of thousands of acres for us to hunt. There's going to be probably 20, 25 guys there from all over Kentucky, from out of state. It's going to be the best time. It's completely free to be there. You got to pay for your campsite, but man, we want more of you to show up. Right now we have 7, 8, 9. We got 10 people as of now coming. I think I at least know of probably 5 or 6 more, and that number will grow. So if you're a turkey hunter and you like to hang out with good guys, sign up for that. Joe says we are flooded bad. Yes, Eastern Kentucky got pounded with the rain. Now the snow's coming, and we've had, I think last I saw, 11 people killed in the floods across Kentucky. So,
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Prayers for all the people dealing with that. We hate that. Just ready for this weather to go, man. Ready. It's disrupted my life. In some ways, it's been good because I've had some time to do some things that I've really enjoyed. In other ways, it's been bad for my work. It's been bad for just, I just hate it. I'm just so done with the snow and the rain. I just need spring to get here. So, and I'm ready to go fishing. I'm so ready to get on the boat, catch some largemouth bass, and just have a good time. Paul says battery heated clothes the way to stay warm. I'm thinking about that, Paul. I hear sometimes they get too hot because here's the thing with me. I hate the cold, but I get hot easily. It's just hard.
I just recently saw a picture of a guy that had heated socks and they caught on fire. And
I've seen that too. Yeah.
It whipped him up pretty bad.
That would be terrible. Michael says wind chill is supposed to be brutal. So at my job where we hire trucks to take shipments all across the country, a buddy of mine at work, most of his shipments pick up in North Dakota. The wind chill, -40 to -60.
Oh, better have every
-60. 60 below wind chill. Can you believe that? They don't even seem real.
No.
You know how hard it is to find guys to go up there and drive. Anyway, listen, we're going to hop off here. Oh, I didn't show, last thing, I'm going to show Harry's, Harry sent me a picture here. Let's see, present. I forgot. I was going to do that. Then you guys started talking, got me off track. So that's always cool. Always cool when you can canoe in. Kill a bug. This is Harry, 2024 Brant Lake. He shot this 212-pound 9-pointer in Franklin County, I guess, New York. Look at that.
Look at that. Man, what a gorgeous picture.
That's a great picture, man.
Yeah, it is. That's cool.
Look at that background there. Harry, I'm so glad you came by, Harry. I'm so glad you're here. Come back next Tuesday. So anyway, listen, we appreciate you guys. It means so much to us for you to take an hour to spend with us on Tuesday nights. And we are so just thankful for the community that we've built. And look, Turkey Camp coming up. We would love to meet you guys, the ones we haven't met. The ones we have, we can't wait to see again. And, man, it's going to be a good 2025. We're just getting started. Hopefully we got some things. And notice his camo. Looks like mine. Yeah, he's not wearing anything special. He's just a good old fella. He might be from New York, but he's just one of us, you know. He's just one of us. So, anyway, appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a good week. We love you. We'll see you next Tuesday. Good night.
See y'all.